Right. So I just sit here with my head on my arm, thinking that I'm waiting for for this to go live, and we've been live for about 10 seconds. Hello. Sorry about that. I'm Jenny Kovacs. I'm the visibility specialist known as the Queen of Being Seen. So let me tell you a bit about what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about being visible while feeling fed up. Now, I have heard this from a range of different places, from the, successful employed professional who's senior and everyone else is looking on their life and their career and their job and saying, but this is great. Surely, you should be so happy. But deep down inside, maybe you're feeling a bit fed up. I've also been hearing from those of you who are hearing about the great resignation. You're hearing about all sorts of things to do with your professional life where, according to all sources, you could just like up sticks, leave and go anywhere you wanted to at any time you want to. But that's not quite the current reality for so many people that I've been speaking to. And there are a lot of you that don't want to up sticks, polish off your CV, start looking for jobs, start negotiating pay rises. There are many of you that actually don't want to do that. And then we've got our founders, our business owners who are trying to, be more visible, but feeling fed up. It might even be the environment, the circumstances, and the things around us that are contributing to that as well. Maybe all of this talk of doom and gloom is having you want to hide your head under the duvet and not come out until summer has passed or there's a new person in power. You never know. So I wanted to address being visible while feeling fed up, and talk about its importance. So if this is the first time you're watching, I didn't schedule this to go live today. So for some of you, it may have turned up as a surprise. But if you're feeling fed up and wanting to be visible, maybe you feel like you're starting again, kids have gone back to school and it's time for you to get out there and put your value out there. There are a couple of things you can do. So if you happen to catch this on today, which I have to keep looking, is just the 6th of September, just the 6th of September. If you happen to catch this before 7 p.m. UK, you can join the lovely Dawn Jarvis on her diverse business networking group. And I'm actually going to be running a masterclass where we can dive deeper into being more visible. If you are watching this now and you're like, oh no, that was hours ago, days ago, weeks ago, you can subscribe to my channel on YouTube. If you were to search Jenny Kovacs, as it says there, visibility, you will find my channel on YouTube. And if you subscribe to that, you'll be able to find out more. Now, if you are one of these high-flying, very ambitious career professionals and you're looking for nuggets of information to look at how you can optimize your own opportunities in your current career, or maybe you're feeling a bit fed up in your current career and you want to boost a bit of energy back into it, then on the 9th of September, so Friday the 9th of September, the 9th of the 9th, all day, I'm going to be hosting a Optimize Your Opportunities Day, if I can say all of those, but it's your current career opportunities. Things that will revive you. We'll talk about how to really use LinkedIn as an employed professional, how to create connection with the right types of people so that you get that career progression and satisfaction. We're going to be talking about staving off burnout, so beating burnout. We're going to be talking about the journey that sometimes people make or straddle from from employee to entrepreneur. We're going to be talking about self-care, what that actually means. We're going to be sharing how to make an impact. And the good news is, if you can't make all of Friday because you are already at work, the replays are going to be available over just that weekend and will disappear on Monday, so that you can catch up on those segments. And those segments are going to be jam-packed full of really useful information. The idea, of course, is we start off with preparing your professional plan, and at the end of those segments you've got a tangible plan you can take away. It's bespoke to you and what you do, and then you can start to feel the fun again while you're being visible and while you're working. So that's what we're going to be doing. But on to, or back to today's topic. So as the Queen of Being Seen, as I'm well known now for since 2010, I do this work because I'm really passionate about you being seen in the work that you do, i.e. the value that you bring being seen, regardless of whichever level that you're working at. You being heard, what does that mean? You being taken seriously. So many people will tell me, oh, I sit in meetings and sometimes I don't want to say anything because I don't know if it's the right time or place. I'm not quite sure how to say it, or they'll say, the people in the meeting are very particular on how they have this information. And I love sharing these sorts of tools and techniques because I've specialized in this for well over a decade, for over 12 years, and also have 30 years of experience in the working world, including the corporate space, including financial services, including travel, including retail. So I've got a really good all-round, kind of foundation of visibility and how it changes, how it evolves, how it affected us through the pandemic and moving forward. So many elements of this to share with you. I love doing this, as a speaker at conferences, but I also love doing this on this medium video because I think it's really needed. And it's easy to forget that if you are feeling fed up at work, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. While you're in it, it can be very stressful, so it can affect your well-being. It can be very taxing, so it can affect how you think about it. And ultimately, it can have like physical repercussions. You might not focus as much. You might not be as productive as you were. You might not feel quite as on the ball as you were. So for me, rather than saying, well, if you're not on the ball, here's how you can improve your performance, or if you're feeling stressed, here's what you can do. I always go back to the roots of my system, the visibility activator system. And I always want to look at the root cause. What could be causing that? Now, there are thousands and millions of you here on both these platforms, both LinkedIn and both YouTube. So I can't just pick and guess, but I can tell you some of the 3 best ways really or 3 best ways to navigate when you're feeling fed up at work and just wanting to hide and not be very visible. So the first thing is you might be struggling with a situation. Now, this could be personal, it could be professional. Some of the things that I've been hearing of late are people feeling like their value at work might not be as useful or as beneficial as it once was. And if that's you, by all means, have a look or go over to either the Queen of Being Seen website or the jennykovacs.com, spelled exactly in the way that it's spelled down there, and schedule a call with me. It's a complimentary call, and I'll just go through, ask you a few questions, find out what's going on, and let's kind of do the smallest thing that will make the biggest difference. And if you decide, well, Jenny, actually, I'd like to work with you a bit more, then I'll tell you how you can do that as well. But the main thing is that often we, in this lifestyle, especially in this part of the planet, we almost get used to being busy. We almost anesthetize what it means to be busy, and this stops us from being or wanting to be visible. We feel fed up because we feel overwhelmed. We feel fed up because we feel like we've got too much to do, and we feel fed up because we feel like our value is not being recognized. So the first thing to do is to actually notice what's going on specifically for you. Now, I know that there's lots of stuff going on globally. I know that there's a lot of things going on politically in a lot of different countries. I know that there are various struggles, from floods to not enough clean water, from politicians changing to, natural disasters, from wars, to, people bickering, moaning and arguing in the workplace, from remote learning and, people not being able to accept the diversity, not just in terms of race or religion, but the neurodiversity that often comes into play in the workplace that can affect that. So I know that there's all of these things going on. The most important thing, number one, is notice. And I would strongly suggest for this that you grab pen and paper and actually make a note of this. Even if you've never dared speak to anyone about it before, even if you never dare breathe it out loud, it's the reason why I'm not asking you to type what that is in the box below. I want you to do this for yourself. Notice what is it that's concerning you the most. And the reason I want you to notice this for yourself is quite often it doesn't seem obvious. You know, people will wake up in the middle of the night, they can't stay asleep, they can't get to sleep because they're worried or stressed about something. When you've been doing that for a long time, it's almost like you play a pattern. So you might think, oh, it's because I don't know how I'm going to look after my kids, you know, and that pattern might have played out so much that when you stop just to notice what's going on for you, you might actually notice, yes, that is a concern of mine, but specifically right now, here's how I'm being affected. Here's what's coming up for me. Here's what my actual concern is about. So number one, notice. Make a note of it or the things if you need to, so that you've got them. And just doing this alone, having it out of your head and onto a piece of paper often makes a difference and takes the kind of neutralizes it a little bit. Nothing changes, I get that, but it will neutralize what's going on. And then you can see it, and then you have the ability to be able to do something with that. But don't keep it inside your head, spinning around your mind. It will affect you in lots of ways. You know, I've known of people that have said, oh, well, I'll just have a nice glass of wine in the evening, it'll be fine. You know, that's a way of anaesthetizing that. Keeping busy, constant scroll, you know, there is such a thing as phone addiction and social media addiction as well. Think about this. Every time you pick up your phone and unlock it, what's the first action that you go to do without thinking? So if you feel like you need to change some of your habits, over my YouTube channel, just yesterday, in fact, so over my YouTube channel, you'll find a video that talks exactly about changing habits. So hopefully that's a free resource that will be helpful and beneficial for you. So once you've done the noticing bit, the next bit is actually making a decision to decide what you want to do. It doesn't mean that you have to decide one thing. It just means that you can decide a number of things. Again, I would write them down so that you can kind of check them off should you need to or should you wish to. But decide what you would like to do about it. You know, and if you find this a hard question to answer, think in an ideal world where whatever I do turns out okay, what would I choose to do? Okay, allow yourself to go there. And then once you've made that decision, start to take a little action, because you might decide, well, this is going to be too difficult for me to do by myself. I might want to do it with my team if it's a work thing. You might decide, actually, I want to delegate it to people who want to do something. Again, if it's a work thing. If it's a business thing, there might be a group or a network that you want to become more involved in. Maybe you don't know what it's like and the cost of, you know, the cost of that, not necessarily financially, but also emotionally, feels too much to bear. But when you start to have these thoughts and you've written things down, it will make that feel a lot more clear. Okay, so start to look at where you can share. Are there members of your family or friends that you can speak to? Are you looking for a solution, or are you looking for someone just to listen? You know, it's interesting that on my sounding board clients, a lot of the time, these people are super sharp. They are really, really sharp. They're really smart. And they just want to kind of like bounce an idea or bounce a thought from you. And the reason that I put my hat in the ring for that was because with years of, you know, working through different environments at different levels, I realized that I would listen to what was being said. And if a solution is what was being sought, quite often I'd be able to come back with a couple of different solutions that the person hadn't thought about. rather than me per se going to speak to a family member that hasn't got a clue what I'm speaking about, doesn't really know what to do or say, or suggest something that has you kind of rolling your eyes, shaking your head and saying, it doesn't work like that at work, or it doesn't work like that in my industry, it doesn't work like that in my business. So I think having somebody to soundboard is really, really important in a place or space that you can trust. And sometimes, especially for you business owners, being in a network of people that you don't know that well actually means that you can express without being or feeling that you have to do it in a certain way. Okay, so notice what's going on, make a decision, and decide like what you're going to do, and then go for your next step. One of my mentors used to talk about your best next step very specifically in that order. And what she meant by that was there's lots of things, no doubt, you can do next, but unless you've really identified those previous steps before, you're not going to know which step is your best next step. Okay, otherwise you're just kind of like throwing caution to the wind, throwing spaghetti at the wall and hope that it sticks, So here's a couple of things that you can do if you are feeling, not feeling it. And, you really want to be able to still be visible, still show up, not go kind of hiding. The first thing that I would say is clarity, always clarity. And this can change. If you're in a fast-paced, fast-moving environment, this can sometimes change week to week, never mind, year to year. So if you've got a strategic plan in place and you're wanting people to follow that strategic plan and it's a 5 to 10 year plan, I get it. But also allow for, if you're in a fast-paced, fast-moving environment, if regulation is changing, if the people are changing, if the demographics are changing, allow yourself that space to be able to regularly make sure that you have clarity. This is something as a founder, as a business owner, as a CEO, that you'll likely be used to doing on quite a regular basis. But even so, sometimes we don't do it as often enough. I include myself in that. So the reason I start with clarity there is when you're being visible and you've got that clarity, it makes it easier for you to know where to go next, what to do next, how to show up next. It's all well and good me saying, well, be more visible, make more of an impact, share, the necessary strategies or stories in the way that you need to, in a way that shows value, demonstrates value, and sells, the products, the services, the proposition. All of that is great, but if you don't have the clarity, or the team around you don't have the clarity, or the people you're conveying it to don't have clarity, it makes it really, really difficult. So number one, get clarity. Number two, know who it is you need to speak to. Okay. Or the people that you need to speak to, especially if you've done the first part of this and you know that you're not feeling 100% about something. Who are the key people to speak to? And then know how you want to make an impact. There's an expression about choosing your battles wisely. And sometimes when so many people are involved in the decision-making process, it's important to know where people are at before you're trying to persuade them to make a difference. So know where they are so that you can make the kind of impact and have the kind of professional reputation that you actually want, not that you get dragged into. On a practical level, sometimes the best thing you can do is stop. I've spoken over the years and helped people over the years as they've navigated, get my words out today, as they've navigated things like grief while they've been doing their everyday business as usual. Maybe they've navigated the remnant feelings of redundancy, or a job ending in some way. Maybe there was something with a previous position that kind of push their buttons a little bit, and it's the remnants of that have stayed with them. So have a look at what could be going on specifically for you. And if that all feels like too much, too overwhelming, speak to somebody who knows. Okay, speak to someone who knows. And if you would like to find out how to be more visible, join us on Friday by all means, and to optimize your career opportunities. I want to say current career opportunities, but if not, there's myself, there's the lovely Cassandra Austin McDonald and the lovely Anita Belitz. All of us have got our expertise in lots of different ways. So tune in, find out how we could help you to be more visible, even if you're feeling in a bit of a funk, and how to move through that. Thank you so much for watching. If anything that I have said has been useful, please click the share button and share it privately with the person and include a couple of words, just one line, one sentence of why you're sharing this with them or what they might be able to get from it. Hopefully helpful. Until next week or Friday, for those of you I see on Friday. Bye for now.